So I'm Hannah, I'm one of the founders of Kiroku, and we are creating this video to tell you, the nurse, a little bit more about Kiroku and how it works. And really our aim with creating the software is to reduce the amount of time both you and the dentist are having to spend on record keeping. Kiroku runs in Google Chrome. Nothing needs to be downloaded for it. And to access it, you can just go to, and I'll just go to trykiroku.com. And once you're on there, you can press sign in. And now you'll be using this if your dentist has got a login to Kiroku. So they hopefully will already have the login details set up. It will take you to their account, and you'll see, what I'm showing you is my account, but it reflects the type of dentistry I do, and the account you log into will reflect the type of dentistry that the dentist you're working with does. Hopefully it's pretty clear, all the different appointment types that are listed here. Just so you're aware, the way that the dentist will get their templates onto the workflow will be in one of two ways. One is if they have sort of quick notes in their SOE software, or they've got a Word document with their templates, they can send that information in, and our team of dentists will create Kiroku templates for them that replicates the type of questions they're asking. However, if they don't have that, or if they have that but they're pretty open to change, and we've got this huge library of templates. And so when you're in the template store, you wouldn't do the notes here. This will just allow you to preview them, so you can add the ones that you're interested in to your account. So you can just go through, preview them, and if you think that this would be something that would be useful for the dentist that you're working with, you can just add that onto the account. And once it's on the account, I just clicked on the Kiroku symbol just to go back to my home screen. It will bring you to this dashboard, and this has got the different appointment types. So I'm going to just do a really sort of quick demo of just a checkup appointment. And again, this reflects the sort of things that I talk about with my patients in my checkup appointment. The workflow that you work through will have been created by your dentist to reflect the sort of order of the sequence of things that they go through. So you just go into a set of notes, and what Kiroku is doing, and the reason it's different from templates within any other dental software, is that it's constantly learning. So it's constantly adjusting itself. So it's quite dynamic. So let's say, if I click here, you'll see that it's kind of recognized the names of my nurses over time. So I can just click that. Equally, everything can be typed and changed. So don't think that anything is set in stone here. We can just sort of make changes as needed. As I was saying, it's constantly learning, it's constantly adjusting itself. So here you can see it's recognised what my really repeated presenting complaints are. Let's say we've got a patient who's attended in pain today. If I scroll down, you'll now see this is what's called linked information in Kiroku. And this is information that's output in this situation because the patient is in pain. So this information wouldn't output if the patient had sensitivity. A whole different sort of sequence of questions would output. So you can just click through, and typically your dentist will be going through an order of sequence, but they can go through, ask those questions. And it might be that the dentist is doing this and clicking this through, or it might be the dentist is looking, having a proper conversation with the patient, and you're able to kind of pick up in the order of information they're going through and being able to click through. Equally, if, for example, the dentist forgets to ask a question, you and your dentist can speak about whether at that point they would just want that deleted out if they haven't asked the question, or if they would like just to be prompted. Because what happens with me is my nurse really helpfully will just say, oh, and is the pain interfering with your sleep? And actually will just fill in the blanks of the things that I've forgotten. You can see how easy that is. You know exactly what information you want the dentist wants captured, where, to what level of detail. It all really makes things quite simple. And let's say the patient mentioned that they would like whiter teeth. Medically, let's say we've got nothing going on. Again, it's up to you and the dentist on how you kind of incorporate this into your workflows. Because I, for example, still include my medical history, my full charting, my BP on my dental software, and I'll just come over to Kiroku for my sort of narrative notes. So again, let's say we've got a patient who's a smoker. Again, because they're a smoker, it's outputted cigarettes per day. It won't output this if they're not a smoker. Let's say they've got too much sugar in their diet. With their oral hygiene, let's say they're using a manual toothbrush twice daily, no incidental cleaning, haven't been in for a little while. Extra orally, the dentist is now doing the check of, the jaw, the muscles of mastication, the lymph node. They can then read out to you, or they can fill this in themselves. Again, you will get a workflow of what works for you guys together. Again, I will typically do my extra oral exam and my nurse will just double check anything for me to note down. If not, she's just clicking through NAD for me, which is really helpful. Let's say we've got to cane that tooth that was causing pain. We've got nothing going on. And to be honest, at this point, I would have done my nurse would have filled in soft tissue, OH, and then actually we would have then gone over to our dental software to do the charting. We would do the full BPE. So again, this is just how I use it. My nurse will have done everything almost to that point. They will help me with my charting. They will help me with my BPE. And then really that's obviously the bulk of the conversation is then continued from there. So then I would then quite often come back either during the appointment or at the end of the appointment to fill in these parts. So let's say we've got nothing else going on. I will just fill in a summary of the BP that I've included elsewhere. And let's say we don't need to take x-rays today. Again, if you did, the report would be output there as well. If I go now to my diagnosis, my discussion, my treatment plan, when you compare this to what I was doing prior to using Kiroku, I would have been typing all of this information out. I mean, there's very little I'm having to type out now. So again, and I know I've said this probably about a million times so far, but just figure out a flow that works with you and your dentist, because it might be that as they're going through the, once they've gone through the charting, they might want your assistance with filling in some of this information as well. And it might just require a bit of to and fro between you to get all of that information. So yeah, again, work that out. And let's say you can then fill that in. Now, I as a dentist will just fill through the information that I've given there. If anything has not been mentioned, let's say I didn't give smoker cessation advice, I can delete that out. If I want to change any of the text, I can do. That's all completed for me. And again, I can fill in the options I've given, what the patient wants to progress with, and what we're doing today. So if you ever want to undo anything, you can just pop undo. I can go to hi, and that is my notes complete. Now, how would you get this into the dental notes? So if I press copy notes there, you're gonna have to use your imagination and assume that my notes here are for SOE, whatever you're using. But if you go into the examination tab in those areas in this instance, but really the treatment, whatever the appointment type is, and you press Control V or you right click and press paste, that's all your notes outputted. And so that can all be completed. And then you could, to start your next appointment, you would just go to the next appointment type. Just a few things I'd really like to show you quickly as well. You've got this feature, which is, let's say you've got a patient who's come in for a checkup, but then you also want to do a small filling or a clean. You can then insert notes from other areas. You can amalgamate different types of notes. So let's say we wanted a filling added in. I can then choose the sections I want added in, where I want that to output, and I can just add that in there. So at the end of the appointment, it's just going through all of that information as well. Again, you can delete out sections in this instance. I'm going to do that. The final thing is, the way, again, as I use it, I do my notes and copy them over in the appointment. But depending on the dentist might actually want to come back and review this later. So they might want to save it to drafts so that when they're not inserting it into the notes at that point. So the way you do that is then press save to drafts. You can add sort of something that's a patient identifiable to you guys, but not to us. So patient initials is a good example. And you can choose whether it's just an incomplete set of notes or whether you're waiting on, let's say, something, and then you can save that. And the way you would then access that is if you go to view drafts, you'll see that I can then just drop back into that. So be aware that's how drafts works as well. Final thing I'm going to direct you to, but I won't go into more detail, is just how you can start adjusting those templates. So those templates, again, if you're adding in those stock templates, you might want to make certain adjustments. It will learn over time, but you can also teach it. So you can go to edit templates. You can also access that by going here, edit templates, and let's say a new nurse has joined, you can add that name in there and make those changes. If you are interested and your dentist is interested in you learning more about adjusting those templates, then there's loads of tutorial videos. So I really urge you to watch those to get a lot more information on how to make those adjustments. And final thing I want to show you is there is a huge amount of support. So we've got tutorials for everything within the system. We've also got an instant chat. So please do feel free, both you and the dentist, do feel free to send a message if there is anything that you're unsure about, and we can make sure that we answer that for you. I hope that's been helpful. Enjoy Kiroku, and if you've got any questions, please do reach out to us. Many thanks.